Now, this is the second part of the course where we will be building a web application using Django framework. Now, before we move forward, there are some steps to be followed, which you can see on the screen, and let's see those in detail. So the first thing that you have to do is just basically create a project directory. It can be anywhere on your computer or laptop. And after you have built the directory, build an environment. So if you're using a IDE like myself, so I'm using PyCharm where you can just simply go to files in your settings, and once setting opens up, you can go to project interpreter. Now project interpreter is basically telling you that yeah, there's a already built environment and that environment has all of these packages. Okay, so if you haven't built one, you can just click on here and there's an add button. You can click on add. So it's ask you to basically build a new environment here. So once you have built an environment, you can set all of the code, that is, my site having settings and all, basically all of the Django project inside your directory itself. Now go to the my site directory in your terminal. Like you can see that I have already built an project directory named src source, and from there I'm going to my site directory. So now in my site directory, you can see there's a manage.py file. So this is a very important file in Django since most of the handling or creation of new app, handling of settings, maybe handling of databases, creating new databases, all of that has actually been implemented in manage.py. This is basically the command line where you could say that once I run this command, my Django project will have major changes done in it. So you can see there is also a requirement.txt file also. So first we will be using this. Now you have built an environment but it is empty. So you now download or install all of your dependencies and packages for this project using the command here pip install -r requirements.txt. Now once you have done this, you can go back to your environment and see that all of the packages that I used while building this project have been installed there also in your environment. So once the environment has been set up, the code has been set up, you run these commands: python manage.py migrate and python manage.py run server. So this command basically is telling you to start on, or you should say create your databases that are required by this Django project. And once they have been created, fill them with specific data that is required. The second is python manage.py run server. This is asking the Django project to now run on a local server and render the pages. So since I've already done my python manage.py migrate, I would simply show you what happens when you run python manage.py run server. Python manage.py run server. So you once do this, it takes a little time to load, and now it's setting up this Django project locally, and you can see that it's performing system checks, and you can see that you have been given a URL here. Once you click on it, like I have, yeah, you can see that your page is rendered. I don't have to go at the quality of this page since I've just basically used the HTML and forms in it. But see that your page has been rendered now, and you can fill up with anything. Yeah, name of the Pokemon Siddharth. Yeah, I can keep my name. Yeah, cool. But anyways, you can now put data in here and Once all of that data has been filled in, you can just click on confirm submission. Now you have been able to set up the project. So let's understand the next thing, which is making some changes in your settings.py, and where actually the load, or you should say rendering of the pages, maybe handling of the data is done. So this is the views.py file inside your app folder, which is polls in my case. You can see that here a lot of files are present: views, URLs, models, and many more. So basically, you should focus on views and URLs and models. So first of all, models is the Python file where you are able to make custom tables for your databases to store value. Next, your URL is basically the place we are telling that, yeah, and this URL you're going to render this page. So you can see that in URLs you got yourself a path, you're calling a function, so these functions are in views, and you're giving it a name. So basically this line is telling me that on the path https, okay, http 127, basically localhost, you're going to call this function. And if we go into views, my first function is, as you can see, rendering index.html. So from here it is able to understand that I have to render the index.html, and you can see above that now I'm handling and pre-processing my data. Actually not pre-processing, just simply processing the data that has come to me from my forms. You can see that the index.html has forms in it, and from here the data that was input is now going to views, and you can see that there's a df, meaning I have already created a data frame where I'm going to store the data that I got from index.html. And then you can see I'm calling my pickled loaded model, which is Pokemon model. So it has weights that were defined when we trained our random forest classifier. And now you can see that I'm using the predict function to predict if the Pokemon is legendary or not from the data that I got from my forms. So this is the part. Yeah. Before we end this second part of the course, let me just give you a brief about what this finding type function is. You can see that a lot of zeros and ones. So you can see that I have in my first part used the categorical data to build new columns. Now, first we just had a column where we were defining the type of the Pokemon. Now I extracted it into different columns where I was putting zeros and ones. So here what I am doing is, if my type, which is coming as X, is dark, then return an array. This is actually a list. So return a list where the first value is 1 and the rest are 0. Now if you go here, you can see that for all the different types, I'm using this list to fill in the values using the zeros and ones. So there's a difference between your finding type function, actually finding type function, and your first function. See, the finding type is actually an helper function, and this function is not rendering anything. This is just taking in values and returning values. But your first function, which is taking an argument, sorry, a parameter, yeah, actually an argument as request, is actually rendering a page which is named index.html. So there are two types of function here at work. The first is actually rendering, processing the data. The second one is just processing the data. So if you are able to understand what we are doing in views, let's let's just go and hop on to settings.py. Okay, so this is the settings.py file, and if you have just built a new project, you would see that this is an empty list, and you would see that there is a true here. Now understand this, whenever you're working in development mode, you can keep the debug as true, but once you shift to production, you have to keep that as false. It is already given a security warning. Don't run with debug turned on in production or when you're deploying basically. So since I've already deployed this code, I've changed the code for false and have inserted my allowed host. Now you must be thinking, where did this try one out.heroku app.com came from? So once we are deploying to Heroku, there's a page, specific page for an for our app where you could see this URL. So I've taken this from here and I would specify this in the third part of the course also. The next thing to understand is setting up our URLs for static files. Now understand this, that os.path.join is basically joining two paths, and we have to create this and specify this in the settings file before production, because Heroku is not able to understand how and where to actually put all the static files in. Since this code is basically asking Heroku that if there is any specific static files in my project, then just make a static files directory and inside that put all of that static uh, you know thing. So static files are basically CSS, JavaScript, images. There are other type of static files also. You can just look at the doc here and you would understand more about static files. So once you have set up the settings also, you're good to go for production, which I will be covering in my third part.